Ebed-Melech the Ethiopian, the courageous servant who defied fate. During the turbulent days of King Zedekiah's reign, the prophet Jeremiah faced a harsh and unjust fate. Because of his bold warnings and unwavering commitment to speaking God's truth, Jeremiah was cast into a deep cistern, a dark, abandoned pit filled with water and despair. Left alone in this pit, he seemed destined to suffer in silence, forgotten by those who ruled the land. Yet in the midst of this bleak moment, one man's compassion shone through. Ebed-Melech, an Ethiopian servant in the royal court, heard of Jeremiah's plight and could not ignore his suffering. Despite his humble status and the dangers that surrounded him, Ebed-Melech was determined to act. His heart was filled with a courageous compassion that defied both fear and the strict orders of his superiors. Knowing that many were too afraid or unwilling to help, Ebed-Melech decided that one life was worth risking his own. With quiet resolve, he set out on a daring mission to rescue the prophet. Moving through the shadowy corridors of the palace, he avoided the prying eyes of those who might stop him. Every step was taken with care, knowing that discovery could mean severe punishment or even death. At last, Ebed-Melech reached the cistern where Jeremiah was trapped. The pit was deep and the darkness seemed overwhelming, yet his determination did not falter. He lowered a rope into the cold water below, his hands steady despite the danger. Hearing the faint sound of despair from within the pit, Jeremiah must have felt a flicker of hope. Clutching the rope, the weary prophet sensed that someone had not forgotten him, that someone was willing to risk everything to save his life. Slowly and carefully, Ebed-Melech worked to pull Jeremiah out of the cistern. Every movement was an act of bravery, a quiet defiance against the forces that sought to silence a man chosen to speak God's word. The rescue was not without risk. Ebed-Melech knew that if his actions were discovered, the consequences could be dire. Yet for him, the life of the prophet and the preservation of his important message was far more valuable than his own safety. This courageous act is recorded in the Bible in Jeremiah 38:7-13, a passage that highlights not only the desperate situation of Jeremiah, but also the remarkable bravery of Ebed-Melech. By risking his life, Ebed-Melech ensured that Jeremiah would survive to continue his mission. His actions preserved a vital voice of warning and hope during a time when the nation was teetering on the edge of disaster. The story of Ebed-Melech is a powerful reminder that courage and compassion often come from the most unexpected places. He was not a king or a mighty warrior, but a servant whose humble heart was guided by a strong sense of justice and mercy. His willingness to act against the tide of fear and indifference teaches us that true heroism is found in the quiet, determined acts of kindness that change the course of history. Ebed-Melech's rescue of Jeremiah also reminds us that standing up for what is right often means challenging the status quo. Even when faced with the prospect of severe consequences, his commitment to doing what was just prevailed. His actions broke down barriers of rank and privilege, showing that the power to make a difference does not depend on one's position but on the strength of one's convictions. Ebed-Melech's bravery and compassion remind us to act with kindness despite fear, defending truth and helping those in need. His courageous deed not only saved a prophet, but also ensured that a vital message of hope and warning continued to be heard. What lessons does Ebed-Melech's bravery inspire in you? How can we, like him, overcome the chains of fear to act with compassion? Share your reflections in the comments and subscribe to AR Soulful Reflections for more stories of unsung heroes.